Well, we are going to do something that we have never done on this show before, and that is take you behind the scenes of the production that goes on here at TLC, because so many of you may think, oh, they just get all their plants trucked in, and that's, wow, not far from the truth.
Far from the truth.
This is Steve Morgan, and Steve is the head grower here at TLC. And Steve, you and I were talking a little while ago about the numbers, the sheer mass numbers of plants that you all take from seed to the checkout counter.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yes, it's an incredible number, Jennifer. Between the seed, stuff that we do from seed and stuff that we do from unrooted cuttings, number of propagation is probably somewhere in the vicinity of 2 million plants a year that we do here.
Incredible.
And plugs also. So it's an astounding number when you sit down and start adding it all up, and it's like, whew.
I think you were kind of surprised when you started the numbers.
Well, I knew it was well over 1 million. I just did not know that it was quite there at 2 million yet, and I am firmly convinced now after some of the stuff that I've written down and looked up, and that it's in excess of 2 million. So.
Well, you guys are working hard. So this is where it all begins.
On the propagation area from unrooted cuttings, right here is where it all begins, these 10 tables.
So these are the babies.
These are the babies. From this comes all the pretty stuff that you see up front in the retail area.
How hard is it to get, when you're talking about unrooted cuttings, these have to be literally babied for quite a while, don't they?
Yeah, depends on the plant, but they start out actually most of the time under mist behind those curtains. There are 4 tables there that we use. Most plants require a certain length of time of misting. Some plants require 2 days.
Just to get the seed to germinate and...
Well, just to get the root, the cutting, not to die from lack of moisture.
Gotcha.
You've got to keep the leaves from drying out until they start to root before they'll stand on their own. Seed table is, all the seed work stuff is located on one table, and that's the last table back over here against the wall.
So what happens to them after they are in this, whenever they grow up enough, then where do they go?
Then they are potted up, and you'll see that operation here in the back in a few minutes. Potted up in different size pots, whatever pot we decide to sell it in. Okay, and then from the planting area, they go out to one of the growing houses, and you'll see some of that a little later. And from the growing house, once they get full and mature and pretty, then they go to retail. And then they go home to someone's front yard, so that every day when they drive home and drive up in the driveway from work, it puts a smile in there, not just on their face, but in their heart too, hopefully.
Well, let's go take a look at some of those.
Okay.
Well, Steve, this is a familiar sight, a TLC pot.
Yes, this is the start. What you've got to do before you can actually plant any of the plants that we saw, the babies that we saw out there. Mm-hmm. This is the flat filler, and these are loaded through the flat filler, filled with soil, and then we can actually produce the plants.
Well, there's a lot of producing going on
here.
It's a busy place back here.
First 2 ladies we have working back here are working on a bump-up project for patio pot annual color for summer sales, mostly. They get a little leggy when they're outside the pot, and they have to be kind of trimmed back a little bit so that when they grow back out even and full and pretty.
And what's happening next to it?
Next to there, we're doing some subdivision propagation, plant that we normally buy in plug form. Actually, we buy this plant both ways, plug form and unrooted, and grow them for so long, and then trying to stay ahead of sales, we will take overgrown flats and cut them into pieces and repot them. And that's what Ramon is doing here today. I think I gave him this project, 10 flats in each color of this plant, and we'll take 10 flats and make 40 out of those.
And then what's happening over here?
Javier is planting up ground cover. He's working on an ajuga right now. And in about 4 or 5 weeks, this plant will be ready for sale.
It's just an amazing operation. I think people really don't understand how involved it is.
No, most people have no idea how involved it is. It can be quite a feat back here when you've got 7, 8, 9 people all planning, doing maybe 5 different projects at the same time.
So where do we go next?
Next, we're going to go out and see some of the houses where these plants are growing in.
I'll follow you.
Okay.
This is called the 200 range here at TLC. It's in the back of the property. And Steve, it's just a massive operation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very big. Totally, 200 range I think is 15 houses. Totally we have 41 growing houses, and then we do a lot of growing open range out on the open fields too. So it's quite a deal.
So after the plants get to be a certain size, then they come out here, and how long would they stay out here?
It depends on the plant, Jennifer.
Yeah.
It sometimes can be ready in as little as 4 weeks. Sometimes it takes 12 weeks. Poinsettias, as you know, because you've seen them, start coming in the first week of June and don't actually leave until late in November and December. So it varies with the plant.
We were looking at these impatiens, and we have to remember that you guys are having to deal with the weather all the time.
Right.
There was something unusual that happened with these. Tell us about
Well,
that.
when the weather warmed up so drastically, so fast in March, these plants are good to sell when they're anywhere from 4.5 to about 6, 7 inches tall. And when the weather warmed up so drastically in March, a lot of them went straight up and got too tall too quick. So we ended up cutting them back and putting multiples in a patio pot, so that when they do finish here, probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks, they're going to be 7, 8 inches tall and just a mass of color.
It's just a remarkable operation. How many people do you have working with you?
27.
27, and they are busy all the time.
All the time. It's a 365-day-a-year deal. There's only 1 day a week when there's not somebody from production at TLC, and that's Christmas Day. So.
And you know, I would say well over half of all the plants that walk out the door here are grown here.
Right.
It makes a difference, doesn't it, in terms of them already being acclimated to Oklahoma's climate?
Absolutely, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And when it's grown here, it has a tendency to survive better here. So.
Yeah. Well, you just done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
And the end result is the beauty that you're seeing right now. All these plants, just mounds of color, and you had a hand in every one of them.
Just about every one of them. So.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.